Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Well, That's Terrific. I'm Tom Cruise.
I'm Mr. S.
And we are excited again. There's a lot of things going on in the world of horror. We're in October. There's a lot of stuff going on. What are we talking about this week, Mr. S?
We are talking about The Exorcist Believer. Interesting special episode for everybody today. You want to tell us why?
Yeah, I mean, we've been teasing this for some time. I guess we can say this now, right? This time it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was not me this time, but Mr. S did have the privilege of watching this a couple months ago.
Yes.
Yeah, this wasn't your first watch.
No, this wasn't my first watch. It's actually crazy. So early September, I was invited. Well, I was sent a link to participate in a free movie preview, and it turns out that it was The Exorcist, and you have to just sign an NDA, make sure that you can't really talk about it or anything like that. That's why in previous episodes I really didn't comment on anything, didn't say much. All we did was kind of just remind you that The Exorcist was going to come out and that we would talk about it eventually, and this is that day. But unlike you, in the episode with you with Halloween Ends, you kind of saw both films. You saw it, the initial screening, I would call it that,
yes,
and then you
correct.
saw the movie when it released, and then you kind of compared and contrast your notes. This episode is a little bit different, where we kind of bring you both sides. So I saw the initial screening. I never actually saw the movie yet, the released version
the current
in theaters.
Version,
the current version in theaters. So you've seen it. I have my notes here. I want to see, what you're seeing, kind of your thoughts on it, and what my thoughts are. So I think this should be an interesting episode. Maybe as not as rewarding, but we'll get to that.
I mean, it's definitely an interesting take. I mean, like you mentioned, you've seen this, but you don't know if the version that's out now changed from the version that you saw. But full disclaimer, we will say you didn't see the initial, you didn't see the first version of this movie. We had heard, or we had spoken on the podcast about the early screenings getting bad reviews, quote unquote. That was a lot before. Yeah, that was a lot before you saw it, right? That might have been like the first original cut. I'm assuming before they have some.
I'm not sure when, but I think it was in June or early July. We kind of touched up on it and said that it was really bad. I mean, the reviews of people, what they saw.
The reviews were, I just want to say that was before you had seen it, so no NDA was signed by then.
No NDA was signed by then. I did not see anything. I saw it in September. Which was cool. I think the experience itself was cool. I saw David Gordon Green. He was sitting there. I actually, so what they kind of do is they take away the phones from you to make sure that no one's taking pictures or recording, leaking any information out there. And then you kind of, you give them the feedback and all that jazz. And then when you go outside, you go get your phone back. And I'm standing in line. And he's like 2 feet away from me. I'm like, I got to say hi. So I ended up saying hi. I shook his hand. I was like, thank you for whatever. But I got some feedback to give you, man. So this is where we are. It brought us all to this. So I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about it. And it's a big film. It's a big franchise, The Exorcist. So
yeah, let's dive right back in.
Okay.
The Exorcist Believer, runtime of about an hour and 51 minutes. Rated R, of course. I'll go ahead and read the plot synopsis. When 2 girls disappear into the woods and return 3 days later with no memory of what happened to them, the father of one of the girls seeks out Chris McNeil, who's been forever altered by what happened to her daughter 50 years ago. This being the mother of, remind me again, Reagan is her name?
Reagan, yeah, who's played by Linda Blair.
Correct. Yeah. And like you mentioned, directed by David Gordon Green, stars Linda Blair, stars Ellen Burstyn, Olivia O'Neill. I should say stars Ellen Burstyn as Chris McNeil. And then, spoiler alert, I guess I jumped the gun there. Linda does eventually show up.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's totally fine. Again, this is always spoiler warning. We kind of review all of our stuff in detail here, and if you've been following us, you kind of already got with the program. So
yeah, and if you're thinking that's gonna be a big spoiler, you're gonna be really disappointed because she's in like about 2 seconds of this movie.
Oh, so that didn't change. I'm glad. I mean, that's something that I had down here, but it looks like that didn't change. Interesting.
Yeah.
I want to go on record. So Leslie Odom Jr. also, he plays Victor. He plays the father. I guess
Correct.
the protagonist in this film. I would say, I think, pretty confidently. So he's there. Before I say anything else, I would like to say that Olivia O'Neill, I've never heard of her. I've never seen any of her films. She's a young actress, but I gotta say that her performance in this film was amazing. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, she was creepy as fuck.
She was creepy, but like she was committed to the role, and like it was a lot, a lot of reminders of the original Exorcist, if not better. I'm being honest with you. But yeah, I think she was just great. I just want to go right off the bat and say that before I forget. I mean, I have it here in my notes, but I'm not going to forget.
Yeah,
that, so.
And then the other girl's played by Lydia Jewett, Angela.
Yeah,
which is Victor's daughter.
She was alright.
Yeah. I know. I just wanted to make sure we mention everybody who's in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of actors here, but that's the main cast. I guess what the story kind of revolves around.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you. So is the idea here that this movie is very similar to, like, let's say Halloween 2018, where it takes place after the original Exorcist, but it ignores all the quote unquote sequels that came after that, correct?
Correct. So that's the impression that I got, and I think you have to do that in order for this film to kind of be where it's at. I think David Gordon Green, I think that's his formula. Yeah, I mean, okay. So here's the thing. Here's going to be the challenge between you and me. We're going to just kind of say things, and then if it happened, say, okay, yeah, I got that too. If it didn't happen.
Yeah.
It didn't.
No,
because I saw the trailer after the fact, and there's some things that I saw in the trailer that were not in the film. I mean, my screening.
Okay.
So yeah.
I mean, so this will be an interesting episode again, guys, because we might have seen two different versions of the movie, but we're gonna figure it out here, and we're gonna see what if it actually was the final cut. So I guess a few things for me. The movie starts it goes to a flashback, right? We're looking at he's in Haiti taking pictures with his wife. I did like the intro. I think it definitely set the tone of what was going to happen in the movie. And I think it did a good job of foreshadowing. The only thing that I wish I hadn't known was that part in the trailer where it's like, I guess this might have been trailer 2, where he's like, oh, only one of us, you got to pick between the girls. Because if I hadn't seen that in the trailer, I wouldn't be watching the movie thinking, okay, it's clear that Victor's like the protagonist of the movie. If they're gonna pick one, his daughter's gonna survive, because now early on in the movie, they perform this ritual on her. She's having this baby. I'm like, okay, you're foreshadowing, but because I know this decision's gonna happen, I kind of feel I know what the outcome is. And I don't know, maybe that was just because of the trailer. I don't know. Tell me what you think there.
I second that. I think that. So for me, when I went into this film, I did not have that trailer. I didn't see that part. I didn't see where she's like, you got to choose only one, and then they even say, like, in the trailer, it's like the devil played a trick on you. It's like that is a critical point, a critical part of the movie. So I don't know why you would mention that there, and I'll get to that actually in a little bit, but that was not in, again, and to my knowledge at all. I didn't see any trailer like that because there was no trailer to show that. So when I saw the film, and that was a big surprise. So when that surprise kind of happened, I'm like, oh, that made it a lot more interesting,
Yeah.
So I don't know why they would do that.
Yeah, man, I kind of like agree with you a lot there. I feel like it would have been so much more impactful had I not known that decision was coming up.
Yeah.
Had I found out about that decision on the fly watching the movie, it just would have felt that much more impactful, if that makes sense. It just would have, you watching it for the first time and then hearing that you have to pick between the girls, it's like a huge thing. But when you already know going into the movie, yeah, again, we've said this a couple times, but trailer number 2 is usually the one that you want to ignore.
Exactly. And I also think you make a great point. It's like that introduction to this film in Haiti, where he has to make a choice, is so rewarding at the end, because we come to find out that he actually chose his wife as opposed to Angela, his daughter.
Yep.
And it's like, I guess he gets to make up for that at the end and actually choose her this time, all that jazz. It's like, you kind of took that away. That it factor was kind of, stripped of you. So I think that's a great point to make. So yeah, I don't know why they did that. I did not know why they did that. But
whoever edits these trailers, man, like, I don't know. I don't. I'm assuming the director has to like give some sort of input when these trailers come up. But like,
I don't know.
how do you miss that?
I really
miss that?
don't know. I don't know how you missed that. I don't know why you add that. I really don't know. I honestly don't know. I think for me, and this is my, opinion on this, the movie itself was slow paced, story driven. And I think my feedback was that it wasn't scary. I didn't think this film was scary. I know that a lot of people said in the reviews and the initial screenings that it wasn't scary. And you know me, I don't really care what people say until I experience it for myself. But it wasn't scary. I don't think it was suspenseful. I really don't. I remember people saying that there was one scare, and I waited for it, and I don't think I got it. I'm just being honest with you. But because of how this film was in terms of the story, and it was slow, I feel like they had nothing to offer in the trailer. I'm being honest. I feel like they had nothing to give you besides that last 10, 15, whatever minutes it was of the film. So they're like, let's attract the fans with this, piece of information.
So unfortunately, I do have to agree with you. I don't think it was scary, quote unquote, but I do think there were parts of the movie that I did enjoy in terms of like overall creepiness. Like you mentioned, Olivia McNeil's character, Catherine, and how creepy she looked. And there were a lot of effects and things that I really enjoyed. One, like pretty much after the possession started, like you can actually see the progression in the possession itself, from when they're first found to later on, eventually.
Yeah. You mentioned it was a runtime of 1 hour and 51 minutes. I don't know if I don't really time the films like that when I go see them, but I don't think it was 1 hour and 50 minutes for me. I think it was like an hour and like a half. Again, this is me just at the top of my head. There were a couple of scenes in the trailer that I saw that I did not see at all. One of my, takeaways from watching the film was that we got no scenes whatsoever in the woods. None. Besides, I think that initial day where they're like having a flashlight and trying to find them, and then
it seems like it almost feels like there's a deleted scene there. Like they did,
but in the trailer they have something of them in the water or something like that. Like I don't know. I think I saw two scenes. I don't know anything about it. So please feel free to explain.
Yeah. So let me just reiterate what happens in my movie, and then you tell me if maybe you didn't have this. So they walk into the forest and. I guess they have this plan. They had told the best friend, tell them. They basically did the whole, like, I'm sleeping in your house, you're sleeping in my house sort of thing to fool their parents. And then they go into the forest, they walk, and they go to that part where it's like that gap in the forest, right? It's like this little, I don't even know what you call it. And she brings out this little amulet or something, and a picture of her mom. And she's trying to, like, I don't know if the idea is she's trying to contact her mom, but Catherine tells her this sort of ritual or something like, think of your mom while you look at the picture.
No. I don't have. Nope.
Well, there you go. So that's new.
For us, they just walk into the woods and that was it. They were gone. Like, I did not have that. There's no picture of the mom. There's no, hey, try this. There's nothing. Yeah. We got nothing at all in the woods. Just they walked in there.
Even with that, I still feel like we didn't get enough because we get that part. And I don't remember the dialogue that she's saying, but she's repeating a phrase, and then that's pretty much it. It cuts to the next scene, and we don't know what happened to the girls after that. We just know that they went into this little, I guess I would call it like little quarry where there was water, like you mentioned, and maybe that's what you saw in the trailer. But we don't see anything after that. The only other glimpses that you get is there are glimpses during the possession where it feels like there's flashing back to that particular area, and it's like some sort of demon in their body possessing them or something, but you don't really see it. It's just like flashes of it. And you also get this during the final scene where there's kind of flashes of or I guess again, just to cut forward to the end, when again I'm talking here as we're assuming we have the same things, but when Catherine is dying, it cuts to her being in that quarry in the forest, and then they're like dragging her down to quote unquote hell or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't get any of that. I didn't get that. I didn't get no mom picture. I didn't get no ritual. I didn't get any flashbacks like that. The only thing that we got was they searched the woods, and I forgot who it was. I think the father. I think it was his father. Her father. I'm sorry, Angela's father. Where he kind of goes down and he picks up what you call it, the picture, the amulet, whatever you want to call it. I think that's the only thing we got, but I did not get any of what you said. And also in the trailer, I think there's actually a scene. I forgot who it was, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was, what you call it, Catherine. I think it was her character where she was in the water, like in like this white dress or whatever the hell it was, but like it was like blue lighting. Like I forgot. I got to go back to the trailer, but that I was like, okay, that was not there, so that must be something that they added.
Yeah, so that's what I'm referring to. So whenever it cuts to like the end when she's dying or whatever, it cuts to that where she like wakes up there, whatever you want to call this, whether it's hell, whatever it may be. But she wakes up there and she gets dragged down. But just to actually recap something you just said, when he finds this amulet, does he find their shoes, a shoe as well, or no? It's just the amulet.
I think it was a shoe as well. Yeah, I think it was a shoe as well.
So yeah, that's pretty much the only jump scare that I got in the movie. He finds the shoe and a snake comes out.
Yeah, the snake. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, definitely
So
that.
that is the same.
But that like you said is probably the biggest jump scare. I think a lot of people were. There's a scene in the hospital where, what you call it, Chris McNeil, she comes in and kind of looks at Angela through the window, and she's like, she knows she knows who I am or some shit like that. And then like Angela kind of pops up on the glass door and tries to scare her. That didn't do anything for me. I didn't think that was scary at all, to be honest with you. I'm not trying to bash this movie at all. I think this movie was very story driven. It was very focused on Victor and Angela and like the hardships after the mom died, and like kind of like the sentimental aspect of her trying to have a connection with her mom, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't.
I agree with you 100%, but I guess what I want to differentiate, and I guess this is to contrast what we heard early on about the movie, is I don't think the movie was bad though.
It wasn't bad.
I would disagree with anyone if they said this movie was bad. I understand that it wasn't scary, and I get it. It's an Exorcist movie. It's supposed to be more scary, more suspenseful, and I agree with all that. But I don't think I would say this movie was bad. I struggle to say like anything wasn't particularly bad.
So I think I agree with you. I think what makes this movie bad per se is the fact that they advertise it like a scary horror movie, right? They try to match the original. Exactly. They try to match the original Exorcist in terms of how scary. This is people, walking out of the theater back in 1973 just from the trailer alone and saying how gruesome it was and all that stuff. So I don't know, man. I really don't know. I think it's not bad. It's really not bad. I think they advertised it the wrong way. And
it's just hard to capture that formula of a movie that came out in the 70s. In current
times.
But
you got to be honest with yourself. I mean, again, I saw a different screening. There were parts where you felt like you could have added more suspense, at least more suspense. I don't know about you, but I'm counting. These are what I saw. I'm counting the scares that I got. The bathroom scene with the tub where he's filling up the tub for her. There's a scene where he's like, Angela, at the end where like she kind of looks outside the window. There's something there. I don't know if you got that, like tucking her to bed. That's something I got. There's a scene at the church. There's a scene with the snake, and then there's a scene at the hospital. I mean, I don't have. And the scene inside the house where Chris comes inside the house. I thought that was an interesting scene where like Catherine's there. She's like, "Are you looking for Reagan?" I thought she did a great job there, but it still wasn't like suspenseful or scary. And I think that's the problem is like when you promote this as a horror film with the tag, The Exorcist, with that franchise tag, it's. I can see how it comes off, and that's why fans get upset, which is a win and a lose situation because fans kill it. I feel like fans like diminish a movie before it comes out, and I think to David Gordon Green's credit, it's not fair. It's not fair to him. I'll be honest with you, but at the same time, he kind of sets himself up for that. He really does because you take in on these big horror movies, these big horror franchises, Halloween and The Exorcist, and you kind of just. It's just there. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's just there. Like it's just a movie. So I don't know, man. I really don't know.
I agree with you. I definitely agree. But I also think that like it's just hard, man. It's hard to follow up something like The Exorcist. I think it was given a tough task, and he didn't nail it. But I don't think he did a terrible job. I don't think the movie's horrendous.
Yeah, it's not horrendous.
But
it's
again,
horrendous.
saying a movie isn't good saying a movie isn't bad doesn't make it good. But I just want to say, I thought the practical effects were very good. But yeah, for the most part, I agree with everything you're saying. And just to mention pretty much what you said, all the scenes that you mentioned, yeah, I got those all. I got those all. So if anything, there were some additional scenes. I'm interested to see what you would think about the latest cut, if you would like it more than what you currently saw. So maybe we could touch back on this once that happens.
Did you before we go on? Did you the scene at the church when she goes to body in the blood? There's a scene there. Was there more to that? Because all I got was Catherine kind of disappearing, and then she walks in and says the body in the blood. There's nothing else. She doesn't say really much anything else. She's kind of walking down. I was wondering if there's more of that. I thought I saw something more. I'm not quite sure.
No, so there wasn't anything else. So basically what happens is she was sitting with her siblings. They were looking at her very strangely. Then she disappears. The father asks where they are. He goes to the back to check, and he finds a mess that I guess she had done. And then it cuts to the priest at the altar, and she comes out, and the whole body in the blood thing happens, and she just yells. Okay. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I really don't know. I think Miranda also, the mother of Catherine, I thought her character was just weird. Like, she comes off as such a terrible person, and then at the end she's just trying to help him out. I think the ending of this film kind of saved it a little bit. I think the 15-20 minutes of whatever it was, I think it saved it for me more than it did you, again, only because I didn't see that trailer and I didn't know what the twist was at the end. I
feel like we it's like a double-edged sword where, like, I had that spoiler, which kind of ruined my experience a little bit, but now I'm interested to see, like, what if you had gotten my cut in the little differences that I had, if you would have maybe liked it more as well. But I do agree with you. I thought her character was a little strange, but I do want to say this was like the first movie where, like, pretty early on, I guess because it's a religious family, she nails it. Like, nobody ever believes that it's a possession, but from the very beginning, she's like, it's a possession.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think Leslie Odom Jr. did a great job. I don't think he's faulted for anything. Ellen Burstyn returning was cool. Yeah, absolutely. I think Ellen Burstyn returning was cool. I thought it was cool, kind of like fan service, to be honest with you. I guess closure with Reagan to figure out if she's still out there, all that jazz.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. It works. It adds to the story. I'll say that much, but
I wish her character did more, man. I wish she wasn't 100%.
There to instead of just coming at the end, blind. Instead of just being like, oh my god, that one scene, actually come. Maybe she could have been of help. Imagine her coming at the end. You know how the priest comes and like everybody's like, for me, people were clapping. Like, I don't know about you, but like people were clapping when the priest came back, and then he totally gets fucked. It was amazing. I loved it, and especially with the theme playing in the background, amazing.
Yeah,
but. How cool would it be if it was like her? Like, I've done this before. Here's what you do. Well,
But just to make sure we're lined up here, by then she was attacked, right? And she lost her sight. Was that happening
towards the end?
No, like what? So what happened to Ellen's character in your
She got stabbed. Yeah,
in the eyes.
Yeah.
Okay,
and so Reagan comes at the very, very end in the hospital, kind of kneels down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also this scene, like, I think is while everything is happening, I don't know, again, I'm just trying to make sure if you got it, where, like, Chris McNeil is kind of, like, sensing everything that's happening at the house. Does that happen in your cut?
No.
Yeah, so nothing happens with her character. Her character doesn't come back, but there's, like, scenes, they cut to her in the hospital with her blindfold on.
No.
And she's, like, sensing stuff that's happening in the house.
Nope. None of that.
Yeah.
None of that.
It wasn't much. Nothing.
Yeah. I think that would be cool to have Chris McNeil there. I think Ellen's character, especially in the original, Exorcist, her being an actress and being, just kind of her lifestyle, I think it draws you into her character. But nah, I didn't get that. And I don't know if it would have done anything for me.
Well, listen, it's amazing that she came back after all these years.
Yeah, of course. It's cool. It's cool to see that, Yeah, I think you respect that one way or another. But no, I know. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, there's not much more for me to say for this film. I think it was cool for them to tackle it. I think it was cool to them to kind of bring it, the cast. I think, again, Olivia O'Neill, I think she did a great job. I think her performance was amazing. Leslie Odom was good. It was very story driven. It was very you know, I don't want to say bland, but like it was unsuspenseful. It wasn't as scary, which is I guess the downside. And you know, if I had to give it a rating, I would give it a 6. I'm just being honest.
Yeah, I was gonna be a little bit more generous. I was gonna say 6.5. So I didn't. Again, just because I don't know. I don't think it was a like. I still would say like if you're an Exorcist fan or if you like this sort of movie, I still think the effects and how the girls looked and everything was done very well. So I would still recommend watching it. But I'm not gonna say like, oh my god, it's the scariest movie. If I'm trying to recommend you a scary movie to watch, this is not gonna be it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's like worth not watching. I don't know.
No, it's definitely worth watching.
If you like this sort of movie, I think you should still watch it.
Yeah,
6.5 for me.
6.
It's
yeah,
okay.
I mean,
it's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. It's better than Halloween Ends. You know,
it's better than Halloween Kills too.
I don't know what. You know, I was thinking maybe since it's the Halloween, time, I think we should probably get into that and just let it out once and for all. But maybe we'll do that in the next episode or something. We'll talk about it. But yeah, that's the Exorcist Believer 2023, directed by David Gordon Green. Go watch it if you haven't. If you haven't, we kind of spoiled everything, but whatever. What do you think about David Gordon Green, man? Do you see him tackling more horror movies? Do you like that he's kind of directing these franchise movies? Like, what do you think?
Well, again, I like Halloween 2018 so much, but I don't think he's been able to capture that magic since then. I think
it's easier to make that film, believe it or not. I think that's why.
I think so too. I think so too. But what else has he done, right? Besides Halloween and an Exorcist Believer, does he have any other horror movies?
Not that I know of. No.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I kind of have my rating for him.
But it's two big franchises, two very big franchises to tackle.
Yeah, I don't know. Blumhouse must love him, right? They just love giving him projects.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, that's Exorcist Believer. Let us know what you guys think. Comments, DMs, all that. What we got moving on. Speaking of Blumhouse, I guess, and Halloween, we got some very exciting news. Exciting if you want to say exciting, or
I was gonna say, is it exciting? I don't know.
It's skeptical if you're skeptical or whatever. But Tommy, what do we have here?
So we officially got confirmation, or it's all over the internet now. Miramax got the rights to Halloween.
Yes,
they already had the movie rights or the film rights. They just got the TV rights.
Yes, so very interesting. Twitter, X, that day was
all over
tweeting, hey, A24 won the bid, the Halloween rights. I, texted you, I'm like, yo, did you see this? And I think you even asked me yourself, is it confirmed? I'm like, I don't know. It's all over Twitter right now. So blah, blah. Sure enough, a couple of hours later, they said, Malek Akkad was going to go ahead and make an announcement. It turned out Miramax actually won, so which was like a complete 180. I'm like, whoa. And
honestly, I was more excited when it was A24. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that, just because their movies are completely different.
Yeah, man, and the movies are completely different. And also, like I told you, I don't know how I feel about TV rights. A lot of people are happy about it. Cool, good for you. Do what kind of series you want. I don't see this going a certain way. Besides, I told you, a possible copycat killer that takes place in the same world who admires Michael and maybe tries to not reenact, but actually kind of do all the killings again or whatever. I have no idea. Praise Michael. I don't see this going any other way instead of that whole, what kind of series they want to do it? Anthology series. I don't know why I'm not happy about this. I'm not as happy about it.
Yeah, so here's the thing. This is barely news because Miramax was already like co-producing these movies. They co-produced the last 2-3 movies. So like they were working with Blumhouse for Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. So this is barely news. It's just news that they were selling the rights and basically they got the TV rights. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to do anything with them. And it would be interesting if they do. I don't know how you bring Michael Myers to the small screen. That doesn't seem to be logical to me. Like you mentioned before, like they could do that sort of anthology series. I think that makes more sense for the small screen. But I know that you don't like that idea. But I think that is better than bringing Michael to the small screen. I think that just makes more sense. But yeah, I think it would have been A24. It would have been a lot more interesting. But I wanted them to get the film rights, not necessarily the TV rights, because an A24 Halloween just looks very intense. I mean, if you compare,
Their movies are intense as
their movies are like very mind fuck. So like, I mean, perfect example, Midsummer. What's the other one by the same director? You know, all their movies are very are elevated horror is what they call it.
Yep.
Yeah, it would have been more interesting in my opinion. And now that we're just getting what we already had, again, it's barely news in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think you touched up on it. It's barely news. We kind of knew this. We actually talked about this last week on our episode. So I mean, I don't know how I feel about it. I really don't. But I'll tell you right now, I'm a lot more skeptical than happy. I'm not as happy. Like you mentioned A24, I was kind of excited, like, you know, kind of nervous, excited about A24 and what they could possibly do with Halloween. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to read you something that Mark Helwig, Miramax head of Global TV, said. He said, and I quote, "We couldn't be more excited to bring Halloween to television. We are thrilled to expand our long and successful partnership with Trancast and the brilliant Maleka Kott in introducing this iconic franchise to a new form of storytelling and a new generation of fans." Stuff like this, where he says a new form of storytelling, what do you think that hints? Keeping Michael's story or an anthology series? I'm curious. Because what I get from it is new Michael. I'm being honest with you, but a different way to explain his story, or again, somebody within that realm or that universe.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is tough. Because it all comes down to like what network it ends up being on. Because as much as we call it the small screen, it could really still be high quality. But you know, if they end up doing something like, I don't know, Chucky or one of these other that's on like a big TV network that you can watch anywhere, the quality just ends up being reduced to the point where like it's not worth it. I don't know. It really depends. Like if it ends up being some sort of HBO, Showtime, or I don't know. It has to be something. I know it all depends on who owns it and whatever, but I don't know. I just don't see. I don't have faith in this being in TV. I think if anything, from that statement itself, I'm just hearing like it's gonna be something like I don't know. I guess what comes to mind is Black Mirror sort of thing. I don't know. I really don't know what that means. I don't think they're gonna continue. Like I don't think. Obviously, we know what happens in the last movie, but I don't think they're gonna continue with that. I just think if they're smart, they don't do it anytime soon. They just give it some time to rest.
Yeah. I mean, I think some people were saying that, you know, give it some time, this and that. But I feel like you do something like this, you act on it. You got people excited. I don't know why, but you got people excited, so you probably should jump on it while they're excited. I don't know. I really don't know. I think we're gonna wait and see how this turns out. I am interested. I'll say that. I'm very interested. I hope they don't mess it up, and I guess we'll wait and see what happens. If you guys have any ideas or any thoughts on the direction that Halloween is heading in terms of the TV series or television, please let us know. Let us know what you think it could possibly be, what your ideas are for a television series with the rights. I think it would be cool to have a segment next week. Maybe we just kind of share that and kind of rate them. I think that'd be pretty cool. So maybe we do that. So DM us, tweet at us, whatever. We'll go ahead and share that.
Yeah, totally down.
Yeah, so that's for the Halloween rights. What do you want to move on to?
Five Nights at Freddy's coming out next week, next week. But also, I guess news out because this wasn't originally in the trailer. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's coming out on Peacock at the same time.
Yeah, it wasn't on the trailer at all.
This is sort of the Halloween kill situation where it's like, it's not selling well. Let's just put it on Peacock.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This looks boring. I'm being honest with you. I'm being full transparency here. Like it looks boring. I don't know.
To me, it was just disappointing when I found out I was like PG-13. They're trying to cater to a specific market. I'm gonna still watch it just for fun, but
it's gonna make money, man. It's gonna make money. I think it's gonna do well. I think so. I think it's gonna do well if the way I have it in mind is if the kids go watch it.
Yeah, I was to say, but even if now it's coming to Peacock.
Yeah, I think it still makes money. I think Peacock, I think, ruins it a little bit because of, we had that conversation with last year about Halloween Ends and also Halloween Kills, how they did it. But kids love this, right? They love the games. This is PG-13, like you said. Look how well Megan did. It wasn't on Peacock, but it did really well. I think this can be something great. I think they might even make a sequel, because the games are sequels, aren't they? I mean, I have never played a game.
A whole bunch.
But,
and I know people who are diehards with the game, and they know all the lore. There's actually a surprising amount of lore for a game that's really just like clicking through one screen.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna go watch it, obviously.
We'll talk about it.
Support my man Matthew Lillard over here.
Yeah, at least it has Matthew Lillard. That's a redeeming quality for me.
We'll take a look and see about that. News that I didn't get to share with you last time. Scream 7. There are rumors. These are rumors that it's taking place during the holidays, Christmas time. I want to know what your thoughts are. I know that this is something we've never seen before. I think there's a reason why they're mentioning that, and I just don't know what it is yet. But just kind of, talk to me about that. What do you think?
I just can't wait to see Ghostface with a Santa Claus hat on, because it's gonna happen.
Yo, that'd be sick.
There's no way he's not gonna have either like a dead body or something's gonna have a Santa Claus hat with a Ghostface mask. I guarantee you.
Yeah,
I think it's interesting that they're doing this because the last movie was in Halloween and now this one's in Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I think that's interesting. I hadn't even heard any rumors. I haven't really seen any Scream 7 news, but it's interesting.
Yeah. So that's what I saw. Again, there are rumors, but you know how these rumors turn out. They usually are right for the most part. I think if it is true, I think there's a lot of significance to it. I don't know what it is yet. Obviously, don't know anything about it. So I guess we'll wait and see how that pans out.
Yeah, interesting enough, because this is sort of movie that they're quick to make. They usually want to get these out pretty fast. But what was the last update there? Right? When is this supposed to start filming? Or did they say anything?
I think they said they were supposed to start filming in the new year, if I'm not mistaken, and then wrap up by March.
And it's coming out
next year. It's supposed to come out next year, late next year. I think in October. I will double check that right now, but I think that's when it was supposed to be.
Okay. I mean, that's still pretty fast. So
yeah,
you gotta get them down.
Let me just double check here.
I do have one other thing that I want to touch on. I was at Comic-Con this past weekend.
Yes, I was going to ask you, so please let us know. I hope you have pictures, man.
I do have pictures. I'll share some. I found some nice little masks. I almost got a Gremlins figure. I was very tempted, but I didn't know how I would fly it back. And it's funny because the previous year, I had seen little critters, and I wanted to get both of them, man. I wanted a Critters and a Gremlins, and and I saw the Chucky doll again, which it's so annoying. It's so annoying. But I wanted to say something that was revealed, or I had seen it before, but accidentally, just because I happened to watch the movie. But there was some news on a new Strangers trilogy. Did you see that?
Yes, I did. I even saw the first couple of minutes of it. Did you see 2 minutes of the first Strangers?
No, I did not, but that was all revealed initially at a Comic-Con panel.
Yes.
So
by surprise. This is by surprise.
Yeah. So they're making a new trilogy. It ignores the last two movies that came out. Funny enough, I had just seen the second part because I hadn't seen it. I didn't really like the first movie, but I did like the second movie. And now they're making it again. And I always found these movies interesting because they have a very unique element where, like, there's not the gimmick, but the whole idea is like they have no motive. These are just people killing people.
Yes. So, which is it kind of reminds me of Fear Street, how they kind of just like drop three, at once. I mean, not at once, but like, in what you call that, like after each week they dropped what you call it?
Yeah, it was like every week or every 2 weeks or something.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah.
So this is interesting to me. So, the films plural will drop sometime in 2024. Chapter 1 starting Madeline Pesht and Four Gutierrez, blah blah blah. Which is crazy because it looks like they want to set this up for even more sequels, which is, I don't know how I feel about that, but whatever. The Strangers 2008 was one of the most scariest films I've ever seen, and it wasn't anything crazy scary. It was just so suspenseful. I mean, so suspenseful. Like somebody knocking at the door in your house, you don't know where they are. Wearing a mask. It was at night. All that jazz. So
I have to say, New York ruined that movie for me, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why. Right? I don't like the first Strangers movie. I wasn't enjoying it when I watched it, but I will say I saw it in the movie theater.
Okay.
I will say, while I was watching it, people just kept on yelling at the screen. That was one of the. I got. You ever seen Scream where they're like she's yelling at the screen? I had that experience in New York where somebody was like, "They're right behind you," like sort of thing. The entire
tries
movie
to be funny and stand out. Like,
yeah, and I can. It just never. Maybe I have to rewatch it, but I think I watched it a second time and I never really thought anything of it.
It's good. It's good.
To me, the maybe the experience was just ruined, but I enjoyed the second one a little bit more, to be honest. But there's that.
The second one is a lot more action. You know, there's a lot more going on. They're targeting a lot more people, and there's actually deaths involved like that. You know, the kill count is definitely higher.
The first one literally takes place in one scene, right? There's just literally
for the most part, yeah. One house, all that jazz, yeah. I think
two scenes in the entire movie, like two different what do you call it? Locations.
Locations, and also it's based on true events. 3 separate events. People think it's based on a true story. No, there's a difference. And yeah, I mean, I thought it was really cool. The second one's Pray at Night is really good too. I liked it. Yeah. But this new trilogy, this chapter, I guess chapter 1, they released 2 minutes. Now, you haven't seen it, and I'm not really going to touch much on it, but like it's very, very similar or familiar if you've seen the first Strangers. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to spoil it for you. So I'm excited for it. I hope they do it right. And, you know, listen, 3 movies at a time. Why not? You know, why not? Let's take advantage.
I think that's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. And I think they're learning that this could be something that could set up a lot of other things. So
yeah. But it's cool that you were at Comic-Con. I know that I've never been. I die to go. So maybe one day, maybe next year, let's see how that pans out. You hopefully had a great experience. I want to touch, you know, more on that with you soon. And yeah, I mean, you mentioned Chucky. I want to go just real quick, just mention like Chucky. When you're hearing this podcast, it should be a Wednesday. So the 3rd episode should be out tonight if you're listening to this on a Wednesday. We will get to that eventually, but we don't do every episode. We don't do that. We want to give it time to settle in. It is the beginning, so you know, be on the lookout for that. Also, American Horror Story as well. It's out. It's every Tuesday.
I think that's like 3 episodes in as well, correct?
Yes, it's pretty much the same. It's one more episode than Chucky. So it's actually the 4th episode for American Horror Story, and then it's 3 for Chucky.
Yeah. But there's 3 episodes currently out. The 4th episode is the one that's coming out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of horror news coming out. October 20th. I know you guys. We talked about Saw. It comes out on DVD. So if you want to watch that and then come back to our podcast and listen to
really fast, man. These movies are just like
really
one
fast.
day in the theater,
honestly, they have it on deck. You know, if they could release it the same day, like kind of like Peacock, but they don't want to. They want people to go to the theaters, kind of watch it, all that, make that money. I totally understand it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really have anything else here.
I do have one last thing, and I guess I wanted to just put this out there for you. I think there's an actual date for the premiere of the Walking Dead.
Yes,
show.
The Rick Grimes. Oh, the Rick Grimes, right?
Yeah. They waited so fucking long to do it.
So long. There was issues. There was so many issues with this, and
it was supposed to be a movie, no?
It was supposed to be 3 movies. They were supposed to do 3 movies. That's initially
what
they wanted to do.
And now it's a TV show again?
Now it's a TV show again. Look how that pans out, right? I don't know. I really don't know. But my
brother saw the Daryl Dixon one. He said it was interesting, but he never finished Walking Dead.
Okay, so for me, I didn't finish the last season of Walking Dead. You know me; I always watched it. I loved it.
I thought you finished it.
No, the last season.
Didn't you finish Walking Dead? You were telling me about the finale of the entire show, no?
Yeah, I think I have no idea. I'm so confused now. I'm thinking about Fear the Walking Dead.
Maybe you didn't finish Fear, but I'm pretty sure you finished The Walking Dead because we spoke about it on
the
podcast.
Yeah. Where they have Negan trapped up on his knees and they're planning their escape. Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. I'm confusing with something that's completely...
You're talking... I stopped watching it a while ago. Like 3 seasons behind that.
What I don't like, I'll say this, what I don't like is the fact that they're... You know, I love Daryl Dixon. I think he's one of the greatest characters in TV. I'll be honest with you, only because of his arc. I think it's amazing the way they wrote his story. Mm-hmm. Great character development, all that jazz. I don't like that they took out Rick Grimes and Michonne to make a movie and it failed. And now you're doing another TV series. That to me is poor. That to me is like, yo, listen, let's just put them in the original Walking Dead. They made the show what it is. Let's finish it with them. I thought it would have been great. There's no need for other shows. There's like what? Why? Like just why? Like I know it's money thing, but these characters are getting old too. And like when you announced Daryl Dixon with what you call it, Norman Reedus and Melissa McBride for Daryl Dixon's show before the season finale even came out. Though, I mean, the final season even came out. So, like, why do that? So now we know what's going to happen.
Bro, I've been saying this from the beginning.
I know.
To me, it makes no sense that you're ending a show just to continue the show with the same characters but spin-offs.
Yeah.
Like, if you were going to end the show, then finish with those characters. Don't give me a spin-off with all the main characters from the show. So now, what was one show with 6 characters, they turned into 3 shows of 2 characters each. They took Rick and Michonne, you're getting your own show. They took Negan and Megan, you're getting your own show. They took Daryl and whatever her name is, you're getting your own show. They turned one show into 3, and I don't know. To me, and again, a lot of people were pissed off with how the show was going towards the end. It was way more intriguing towards the beginning.
Yeah.
Towards the end, there were episodes that was just talking.
Yeah, a lot of dialogue, a lot of filler to try to introduce groups. It took a lot away from the show, and
a lot of people like me just stopped watching. We're like, I'm not finishing this.
I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of episodes where I kind of just skimmed through. Towards the end, I want to say season 10. I think up to the Whisperers. The Whisperers was a great storyline. I
don't even think I got there, man. I got the last season I saw was. I think they just captured Negan, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I was hooked. Oh, so you like season 7, I think, end of season 7. But like, man, I think the Whisperers was a great story. I thought the way they kind of built up to it was great, and then after that, it just fell off. It fell off for me, man. It really did. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this pans out. I'm excited. I'll give it a try because I like Rick Grimes. I mean, Andrew Lincoln. So
have you been watching the Daryl one or no?
No, I have not watched a single episode of the Daryl one. I've seen tweets about it. I've seen people say, "Oh, the season's done." I think it's like 6 episodes the first season. Just haven't gotten to it. I don't know.
My brother said something like it starts off and he's in the ocean and then he's like another country or something. I don't know.
Okay. Alrighty.
They're expanding.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's pretty much all I got.
Yeah, that's all on my end, man.
Yeah. With that being said, as always, thank you to everybody who's listening to our podcast, and whichever podcast platform you're listening to this to. Also, YouTube. We do upload our episodes on YouTube. Thank you for watching. If you're doing that, if you have any questions, want to hit us up, please follow us on Instagram and on TikTok at Well That's Horrific, and on Twitter /X at That's Horrific. Because if you don't,
well, that's horrific.
Later.